Imagine waking up one morning and realizing the systems that keep modern life running have suddenly stopped. No electricity, no supermarkets, no pharmacies, and no easy way to get clean water. In the first few days, most people would panic. Within a week, food would start running out. And within a month, the world would look completely different from the one we know today. But here's the surprising part. Long before modern technology existed, humans survived disasters, harsh winters, and long journeys using something most people ignore today: the plants growing around them. Hidden in forests, fields, and even along ordinary roadsides are plants with incredible survival abilities. Some can stop bleeding, some can fight infection, others can provide nutrients your body desperately needs when food becomes scarce. And one of the plants in this video has been used for centuries as a natural emergency food source, powerful enough to keep people alive during extreme shortages. Today, we're going to uncover 10 plants that could become priceless knowledge if the systems we rely on ever fail. For most of human history, survival didn't depend on stores, hospitals, or supply chains. It depended on knowledge. Ancient cultures around the world developed a deep understanding of the plants growing around them. Indigenous tribes could identify dozens of wild plants that provided food, medicine, and even protection from disease. Explorers crossing unknown lands relied on plant knowledge to treat wounds, fight infections, and prevent starvation. In fact, many of the medicines used in modern hospitals today were originally discovered by studying plants used in traditional healing practices. But over time, as modern systems became more advanced, much of this survival knowledge quietly faded into the background. Today, millions of people walk past powerful medicinal and edible plants every single day, without realizing what they are. Survival instructors often say that knowing just a handful of the right plants can dramatically increase your chances of surviving in a crisis. Some can purify water, others can provide emergency nutrition, and a few contain natural compounds strong enough to fight dangerous bacteria. The plants you're about to see aren't rare or mythical. Many of them grow in ordinary places all around the world. But the real power lies in knowing how to recognize them and understanding what they can do when survival truly matters. When survival experts talk about emergencies, they usually focus on 4 basic priorities. First comes water, because the human body can only survive a few days without it. Second is shelter, protecting the body from extreme heat, cold, or storms. Third is food, which becomes critical as days turn into weeks. And finally, medical care, because even small injuries can become dangerous without treatment. In modern life, these things are easy to access, but if systems fail, they quickly become difficult to find. This is where plant knowledge becomes incredibly valuable. Some plants can help treat wounds and infections. Others provide emergency nutrition when food is scarce. And a few contain natural compounds that can even help make unsafe water safer to drink. And the first plant on this list might surprise you, because many people have stepped on it without ever realizing how useful it can be. Plant number 10 is something most people have walked past thousands of times without ever realizing it could be a powerful survival tool. It's called plantain, and it grows almost everywhere in the world. You can often find it in lawns, along sidewalks, in empty fields, and even in the cracks of city streets. The plant is easy to recognize once you know what to look for. It has wide, oval-shaped leaves that grow close to the ground, with strong parallel veins running from the base of the leaf to the tip. When you gently pull one apart, those veins stretch like thin fibers. But what makes plantain truly valuable is what's inside those leaves. They contain natural antibacterial and anti-inflammatory compounds that can help treat minor wounds, insect bites, and skin irritation. In a survival situation, people have traditionally crushed the fresh leaves and applied them directly to cuts or stings. The plant releases soothing compounds that help calm the skin and reduce the risk of infection. For centuries, this simple plant was known in parts of Europe as the traveller's remedy. Soldiers and travellers often carried knowledge of it because it could provide quick first aid when proper medical care wasn't available. Even today, herbalists still use plantain as a natural remedy for skin injuries and inflammation. But while plantain is helpful for treating wounds, the next plant on this list solves a completely different survival problem because it can help provide nutrients your body desperately needs when food becomes scarce. Plant number 9 might look like something you should stay far away from. At first glance, it doesn't look friendly at all. In fact, if you brush against it with bare skin, you'll probably feel a sharp stinging sensation that can last for several minutes. This plant is called stinging nettle, and it grows across Europe, Asia, and North America, usually in moist soil near rivers, forests, and open fields. The leaves are pointed and slightly serrated along the edges, and the stems are covered with tiny hair-like structures that cause the well-known sting. But despite its reputation, stinging nettle is actually one of the most nutrient-rich wild plants on Earth. Once the leaves are cooked or dried, the stinging effect disappears completely. What remains is a plant packed with nutrients that the human body desperately needs in survival situations. Stinging nettle contains impressive amounts of iron, calcium, vitamin C, and protein. Some survival experts even compare its nutritional profile to spinach, but often stronger. Historically, many cultures used nettle as both food and medicine. In parts of Europe, it was commonly cooked into soups and teas during times when other food sources were scarce. During difficult seasons, people relied on it as an early spring plant that helped restore nutrients after long winters. And because it grows quickly and spreads easily, it often appears in large patches, making it an incredibly valuable wild food source if normal food supplies disappear. But the next plant on this list might be even more important in a true emergency, because it can help solve one of the most dangerous survival problems of all: unsafe water. Plant number 8 grows near one of the most important survival resources on Earth: water. You'll often find it around ponds, lakes, marshes, and slow-moving rivers. It's tall, easy to recognize, and once you learn how to identify it, it becomes one of the most valuable plants you can know in the wild. This plant is called cattail. Cattails can grow several feet tall and are known for their long green leaves and their distinctive brown, sausage-shaped seed heads that appear near the top of the stalk. Survival instructors sometimes call cattail the supermarket of the swamp, and there's a good reason for that. Multiple parts of this plant can be used in survival situations. The young shoots can be eaten and have a mild flavour similar to cucumber. The roots contain a starchy interior that can provide valuable calories when other food sources are unavailable. Even the pollen from the plant can be collected and mixed with other ingredients to create a type of flour. Also use parts of the plant as a simple filter layer when attempting to remove sediment from dirty water before boiling or purifying it. For thousands of years, indigenous cultures around wetlands relied on cattails as a dependable survival resource. It's one of the rare plants that can provide food, materials, and survival utility all in one place. But the next plant on this list might surprise you even more, because it's often dismissed as a simple weed, even though it has been used for centuries as a powerful natural pain reliever. Plant number 7 doesn't just help people survive in the wild, it actually played a role in the development of one of the most widely used medicines in modern history. This plant is the willow tree. Willow trees are usually found growing near rivers, lakes, and other sources of water. They're easy to recognize by their long, flexible branches and their narrow leaves that often sway gently in the wind. But the real survival value of willow trees is hidden inside their bark. For thousands of years, people discovered that the inner bark of certain willow species contains a natural compound called salicin. When consumed in small amounts, this compound can help reduce pain and lower fever. In fact, salicin is one of the natural substances that eventually inspired the development of aspirin, one of the most commonly used pain relievers in the world today. Ancient civilizations were already aware of this property long before modern chemistry existed. Historical records show that people in ancient Greece used willow bark preparations to relieve pain and reduce fever. Similar practices appeared in traditional medicine across Europe, Asia, and parts of North America. In a survival situation where access to medicine disappears, knowledge like this becomes incredibly valuable. While willow bark is not a perfect substitute for modern medication, it demonstrates how plants have long provided natural ways to manage pain and discomfort. But the next plant on this list offers something completely different. Because while willow helps with pain, the next plant has been used for centuries as a powerful natural disinfectant, capable of helping the body fight harmful microbes. Plant number 6 might already be familiar to many people, but what most don't realize is just how powerful it can be in a survival situation. This plant is garlic. Garlic has been cultivated and used by humans for thousands of years. It's easy to recognize by its bulb, which is made up of multiple cloves wrapped inside thin, papery layers. Today, garlic is mostly known as a cooking ingredient, but historically, it was valued for something much more important: its ability to help fight infection. When garlic is crushed or chopped, it releases a compound called allicin. This compound has strong antibacterial and antimicrobial properties that have been studied extensively by scientists. Long before modern antibiotics existed, many cultures used garlic as a natural defense against illness. Ancient Egyptian records suggest that garlic was given to workers and labourers to help maintain strength and resist disease. In parts of ancient Greece and Rome, soldiers were believed to consume garlic before battle because it was thought to support endurance and health. Even during difficult periods in history, when medical supplies were limited, garlic was sometimes used as a natural disinfectant for wounds. While it's not a replacement for modern medicine, garlic shows just how powerful certain plants can be when it comes to supporting the body's defences. And the fact that it can be grown relatively easily in many climates makes it even more valuable during long-term emergencies. But the next plant on this list is something most people would never expect to see in a survival guide. Because despite being extremely common, it contains compounds that can help stop bleeding surprisingly quickly. Plant number 5 has a long and fascinating reputation in the history of survival medicine. This plant is called yarrow, and for centuries it was considered one of the most useful plants for treating wounds in the field. Yarrow commonly grows in open fields, grasslands, and along roadsides. It produces clusters of small white flowers that form flat, umbrella-like tops, and its leaves have a feathery, fern-like appearance. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary wildflower, but inside the plant are compounds that have been traditionally associated with helping to slow bleeding and support the body's natural healing process. Because of this, yarrow became closely connected with battlefield medicine. According to historical accounts, warriors in ancient times carried knowledge of this plant because crushed yarrow leaves could be applied to cuts and injuries during combat. Some legends even suggest that the Greek hero Achilles used yarrow to treat wounded soldiers during the Trojan War, which is where the plant's scientific name, Achillea, is believed to come from. While modern medicine has far more advanced treatments today, yarrow remains an interesting example of how plants were once used as practical first aid in harsh conditions. In wilderness survival situations, knowledge of plants that may help support wound care can become incredibly valuable when professional medical help is far away. But the next plant on this list solves a completely different problem, because when food becomes scarce, the body needs dense nutrition more than anything else. And the next plant might be one of the most nutrient-packed wild foods that grows naturally in many parts of the world. Plant number 4 might be one of the most underestimated plants in the entire world. Many people see it as nothing more than a weed, that appears in lawns and empty fields. Some even try to remove it from their gardens. But this humble plant has been used for centuries as both food and medicine. It's called dandelion. Dandelions are easy to recognise by their bright yellow flowers and the fluffy white seed heads that form later, often carried away by the wind. Their leaves grow in a rosette shape, close to the ground, and have a jagged, tooth-like pattern along the edges. What most people don't realise is that almost every part of the dandelion plant is usable. The leaves can be eaten and contain impressive amounts of vitamins A, C and K, along with important minerals like potassium and calcium. The roots have traditionally been roasted and used to make herbal drinks, while the flowers have even been used in certain traditional recipes. Historically, dandelion was often valued during times when fresh vegetables were difficult to obtain. Early settlers in North America sometimes relied on dandelion greens as one of the first fresh food sources available after long winters. Herbal traditions in many cultures also associated dandelion with supporting digestion and helping the body process nutrients more efficiently. Because the plant grows so easily and appears in a wide range of environments, it can become an incredibly reliable survival food when other options are limited. But the next plant on this list might be even more surprising, because instead of helping with food or wounds, it has been valued for something just as important in survival situations: helping the body fight harmful microbes and infections naturally. Plant number 3 might be something you've seen many times in kitchens around the world. But what most people don't realise is that this common herb has been valued for thousands of years for much more than its flavour. This plant is oregano. Oregano grows naturally in warm, sunny environments and produces small green leaves with a strong, distinctive aroma. When the leaves are crushed between your fingers, they release oils that give the plant its well-known scent. But those oils contain something remarkable. Oregano is rich in natural compounds like carvacrol and thiamol, substances that scientists have studied for their strong antimicrobial properties. In simple terms, these compounds help fight certain types of bacteria and microbes. Long before laboratories existed, ancient cultures had already noticed these effects. The ancient Greeks and Romans used oregano not only as a seasoning, but also as a medicinal herb. Historical writings describe it being used to help protect food, support the body during illness, and assist in maintaining general health. In traditional herbal practices, oregano was sometimes brewed into teas or preparations believed to help the body defend itself against infections. Even today, oregano oil continues to be studied and used in herbal medicine around the world. What makes this plant especially interesting for survival situations is that it grows relatively easily and can thrive in many climates. But while oregano helps protect the body from harmful microbes, the next plant on this list may be even more important during a crisis, because it provides something the human body desperately needs when resources become scarce: highly concentrated nutrition. Plant number 2 has a history that stretches back thousands of years, and at one point it was so valuable that entire civilizations depended on it for survival. This remarkable plant is called amaranth. Amaranth grows in many parts of the world and is recognizable by its broad leaves and tall stems that often carry dense clusters of tiny seeds near the top. Depending on the species, those seed clusters can appear in shades of red, purple, or golden brown. What makes amaranth extraordinary is the amount of nutrition packed into such a small plant. The seeds are rich in protein, fiber, iron, and essential amino acids that the body needs to maintain strength and energy. Unlike many common grains, amaranth also contains a more complete balance of proteins, which made it incredibly valuable to ancient cultures. The Aztecs once considered amaranth one of their most important crops. Historical records suggest it was used not only as food, but also as part of cultural traditions and ceremonies. The leaves of the plant can also be eaten as a leafy green, adding another layer of usefulness in a survival environment. Because amaranth grows quickly and can adapt to a variety of conditions, it has long been viewed as a resilient food source during difficult times. In situations where food supplies become unpredictable, plants like this can provide steady nutrition that helps the body stay strong. But the final plant on this list may be the most powerful survival plant of all, because unlike many other plants, it offers a rare combination of nutrition, medicinal value, and incredible resilience. And for centuries, some cultures have even referred to it as one of nature's most complete survival foods. Plant number 1 has earned a reputation in many parts of the world as one of the most useful plants a person can know. It's called moringa, and in some cultures it's often referred to as the miracle tree. Moringa grows in warm climates across Africa, Asia, and parts of South America. The tree produces small green leaves, long seed pods, and delicate white flowers. But what truly makes this plant remarkable is its nutritional power. The leaves of moringa are packed with an impressive range of nutrients, including vitamin C, calcium, potassium, iron, and protein. In fact, researchers studying the plant have found that its leaves contain unusually high concentrations of essential vitamins and minerals. Because of this, moringa has been used for generations as a natural source of nutrition during times when food resources were limited. In some regions, the leaves are dried and ground into powder, which can then be added to meals to increase their nutritional value. The seeds have also been traditionally used in interesting ways. When crushed and added to cloudy water, compounds inside the seeds can help cause particles and impurities to clump together and settle, making the water clearer before further purification methods are used. This combination of nutrition, resilience, and versatility is what makes moringa stand out among survival plants. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful resources aren't hidden in advanced technology, but quietly growing in the natural world around us. And for generations of people who have lived close to the land, plants like moringa have never just been part of nature. They've been a lifeline. For most of modern history, survival knowledge like this has slowly faded into the background. Supermarkets replaced foraging, hospitals replaced traditional remedies, and technology made life more convenient than ever before. But the natural world hasn't changed. Many of the plants that helped humans survive for thousands of years are still growing quietly all around us, in forests, fields, riverbanks, and even in places people rarely notice. Learning to recognize even a few of them can completely change the way you see the landscape around you, because what might look like an ordinary patch of plants to most people could actually be a hidden source of food, medicine, and survival. And in a world where unexpected challenges can appear at any time, knowledge like this may be one of the most valuable tools a person can have.